This is Moneyline Mania with Chaz and the crew.
Chazzy, what is going on, my friend? How are you feeling?
Doing good, and I just spent a couple nights in the hospital. I want to give a shout-out to the Scripps Memorial Hospital in La Jolla because they treated me well, but I was betting in bed. I was laying in bed and betting, and I hit 7 straight Canadian football games. Now, I always give kudos to Wes. Blackhawk Wes was the one that turned me on, but my Easy Sports data, and I was kicked in gear. I think, actually, I have a better record this year in CFL than he does. It's not much better, but it's a little better.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know if the nurses came in. You guys have never actually sat with me. I think maybe Hector has watching a game. I don't get that emotional. First of all, I don't bet a lot. I bet a lot of money, but I don't bet a lot of money. Like some guys are dropping rack on a first half. My budget for a week is usually $100, $200. If I win, I keep playing. But I was in my hospital bed. And whatever game was on TV, I was betting because I figure, you know what? You never know when it'll be your last bet, do you?
Hey, we saw you in the summer last year. I don't know if you were betting during that time, but we
No, that's true. No, I don't think I had any action that night. That was a real guy. I got that picture on my phone, too. Boy, coming back on that Long Island Sound with the ferry and the sun going down and the clouds and the blues and the yellows and purples. Oh, my God.
And the drinks that you found out were too expensive.
Yes, very much so.
When are you coming back on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network?
I was ready. I don't know. Been working hard at getting everything ready, so I got videos made and everything. I just got to put it together. I'm going to assume when the doctor says I can start going back to the gym, that's when I'm going to start, working. I have had 7 straight winners. My kid hit for $4,000. What he's been doing is he's been doing the money line or the run lines in Major League Baseball. And, there's about 5 or 6 teams right now that are just the best teams in baseball, and they're winning every single night by 1.5 runs. And so he's been cleaning up. So I actually tailed my son. Think about how cool that is if you're a sports bettor. I'm not handicapping. I'm betting who my son tells me to bet. It's working out real well.
I mean, if the Yankees don't win the World Series this year, they should just forfeit next year, dude. Come on.
It's theirs to lose. No doubt about it.
I will say this, and a lot of people say, well, look at the Yankees' record, but you can never bet on what's going to happen in the playoffs, what pitcher's going to get hot, what lineup's going to get hot. Yankees could go absolutely cold in the playoffs and can't hit. But right now, they're just on a tear, and nobody's even going to catch up to them right now. This rotation could break records. This bullpen could break records. And even if they win 117 games this year, they will be the first major league team to ever do that.
Since the 2001 Mariners, yep.
It's really ridiculous what the Yankees are doing. Right now, their winning percentage is at .725. Have we ever seen that in an All-Star break?
Never. I've never seen that.
Never. It's just
not this far into a season.
No, and this might be the last year you see Aaron Judge play on this team, so enjoy it while it lasts.
Well, he made the right decision, did he not?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Absolutely did.
We talked about that. We talk a lot on this show about the Yankees and the Mets, and one of the things that I laughed at is $21 million and $17 million, right? And they settled in the middle, and I'm thinking, duh, that was hard to do, but the guy just took off right after that, right? He had 3 walk-offs.
I think he's got 5 walk-offs for the whole season.
Just crazy.
It really is. It's amazing. It really. But you have to say something about coaching and managing right now with this team. Aaron Boone has been sensational, done everything right. And Brian Cashman, say what you want. He didn't make the big splash in the offseason. Boy, oh boy, bringing in some of these young guys from their farm system, it's worked. It's absolutely worked. And they made that trade for Holmes at the trade deadline last year, and look, it paid off.
But you're absolutely right. As you know, when you get into a 7 or 5 game series, then the other pitcher, the number 1 guy, goes 3 times. Playoffs aren't a guaranteed, no matter what good your regular season was.
Mm-hmm. And that's why that worries me about the Yankees, because as good as the rotation has been, but you don't know what Cortez is going to do in a 7-game series. You don't know what Teon's going to do. You don't know what some of these pitchers are going to do. And Severino has, every time we've seen him in the playoffs, he hasn't pitched at what we call top-end pitching in the playoffs. So, And Garrett Cole, the last year and a half with the Yankees, pitching in big games, has not pitched very, very well either.
It is funny how many, not just on the mound, though, in the batter's box, too, how many guys just tighten up when it counts,
Yeah, well, that's... You have to be a big player in the big part of the game. He wasn't one of those guys. And even some of these relief pitchers, a lot of these relief pitchers over the years, especially the big ones like Trevor Hoffman was not a good playoff pitcher. Never was. Mariano Rivera was. But who was better than Mariano Rivera? I don't think we'll ever see a guy like Mariano Rivera again. So
they didn't even. With his playoffs, I don't think they even needed to use the 1, right?
No.
In front of the point. I think he ended like with 0.9 or something. It was insane.
He's ridiculous. And remember, he's lost big games for the Yankees in the World Series. Mariano lost that game against Arizona, if you remember.
One against Florida,
Florida. When they won it all,
He wasn't a shutdown guy, but yes, I mean, if you look at his ERA and WHIP in his time in the play, I mean, it's ridiculous. And what this guy Holmes is doing with the Yankees, he might break Mariano Rivera's record in a regular season. It's been fantastic to watch, and you have to give a lot of credit to the Yankees scouting and give a lot of credit to Brian Cashman.
Let's start talking some against the spread because I've really missed you guys. And I always like to start with Hector for a couple reasons. One is he gives us winners. Two is we talk about him all the time. Even when you're not on, Hector, we talk about you because soccer is a three-way betting sport. So you can bet Team A, you can bet Team B, or you can bet a draw, where most of the time if I give out a game and it's a draw, you get your money back. So soccer is a kind of sport where Hector can go 2-2 and he can win more money than a baseball player to win 3-1. So talk to us, Hector.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with USO Championship this time around. My team that I follow here, San Diego Loyal, they're coming off a big win against Colorado. At Colorado, they were down one guy, red-carded, and they managed to win it over there. So they're 2 points away from second place. I think they've won 4 of their last 5. So they're back on the hot streak again, and they're going to play their rivals, LA Galaxy 2, in San Diego tonight, 7 p.m. Pacific time. They've dominated LA Galaxy in the series since they joined the league in 2020. I don't think they've actually even lost one yet to LA Galaxy, if I'm not mistaken. But it's a rivalry not just because Landon Donovan used to play for LA Galaxy, the MLS team, but because of the connection, rivalries in general, LA and San Diego. So I think they're going to continue with the hot streak and at Carson. So I'm going to go with San Diego Loyal winning this one, going away 3-1 on this one. And my second game, I got Orange County, another Southern California team. Orange County, the reigning champions. They've had a horrible season this year. They're like next to last, but they're going to be playing at home against the last place team, Monterey Bay, the expansion team, first year in the league. They were up 2-1 in the final few seconds, and they gave up a goal late to Phoenix Rising, so they were able to snatch a draw from the jaws of victory, if you will. I think their pride's going to kick in this time. They know they're the champs. They know they're playing a crappy season so far. And they want to be back in the playoffs. They don't want to be the laughingstock of, I think it'd be the first time in the history of the USL that a champion didn't make the playoffs the next season. So I like them to win a close one. Monterey Bay is a feisty team. They're an expansion team. They want to show the league that they're a legitimate team to be in the league. So I think Orange County is going to pull out their experience and win this one in a close 1-0 at home. And then my third and final match is a game that everybody in California in general is going to be watching because Sacramento Republic's the only team that's in the USL that's left in the US Open Cup, the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup. In the semifinals, they've beaten an MLS team already. They actually beat LA Galaxy of the MLS at LA. And everybody's on the bandwagon as their Cinderella team right now, USL championship team going up against the remaining MLS teams in the US Open Cup. And I think they're going to continue. This game's going to be a league game, obviously, USO game. But I think they got that mindset that they want to continue with the hot streak and continue their momentum to push it not just for the rest of the season here, but also for maybe pull off the upset in the US Open Cup. They're going to be playing Oakland Roots at home. I like Sacramento in this one. I think it'll be a close one, but I think they got that push from everybody. They're like I said, the underdogs, and everybody in California is rooting for them, even the teams that they play against. So I like Sacramento in this one, 2-1.
Hey, on a game like that where they beat somebody in a higher division, what were the odds? You remember looking to see what the odds
I know
were?
LA was favorite. I don't know if they were ridiculously favored because they didn't have a couple of their starters. I don't know if I think Chicharito came in until final 10 minutes or something like that. But yeah, it was like the biggest. Everybody's talking about it on Twitter. Oh, USL team's going to make. I think there's only been one USL team to make the US Open Cup final like the last 20 years or something. So everybody's going to be rooting for them to make it. So, but in this game against Oakland, I think they got enough to continue and win this one.
That's the kind of thing when you get an upset like that, it's exciting, especially when you bet it already, because
Yeah, exactly. So.
you're talking, 3 or 4 to 1. That's like hitting one. That's a one bet, guys. That's like hitting a parlay. One of the things that has been fun with me is the CFL, Canadian football, but the second half of this game, I'm all over the over in the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So whatever you're doing right now, you're listening to us. So do me a favor, grab your phone, see where the live action is, and no matter what the live action is, put like a half a unit on the over. And also there's a game going, which is San Diego and San Francisco. I looked at that game, and that's tonight as well, but that has already started, so it's going to be probably about halfway through. It's going to be under early. But both of the pitchers, 100 pitches, the days where pitchers throw 100 pitches is very, very rare. Both of these guys start, Yu Darvish and Carlos Rodon, they both throw 100 pitches. So what I'm looking at is when you find that game, it should be about the 5th or 6th inning. It's should be low scoring, but the under will have dropped from probably 7.5 to 6.5, maybe 6, 5.5, somewhere around there. Hop on that over, and those will be a couple second half Chaz plays. And then I want to talk about one game Sunday. That's just what I do this time of year. There are teams that are technically not eliminated, but they're out of it, right? We got Washington. They're 15 games under 500. They're playing Atlanta. They're 15 games over 500. The only problem with these kind of games, and this is the teams we're talking about. We got the Yankees, the Mets. Even though I think I said to you guys a few weeks back that the way Atlanta's playing, they're going to catch up to the Mets, and they're catching up to the Mets quickly.
I don't know why anybody thought that they weren't. They're a good team, and they're always a second-half team. They've always been that. Even when Chipper Jones was on the team, they were a second-half team. So any Met fan that thought that they weren't going to catch them, just keep playing your game. Don't worry about the Braves. Play your game, and you could still win the division.
That's great advice. But I think part of the Braves was, they got rid of their best player after winning the World Series.
They didn't get rid of the player.
No,
the agent was an idiot.
I did hear that story, yeah.
Also, Dansby Swanson's agent, too.
He lost the client, too. But what I'm saying is they were finding themselves. So early, I think they were struggling. Going into Saturday, they've won 4 or 5 and 8 of 11.
Yep.
In 7 of the 8, they allowed 3 or less, and in 8 of the 11, they scored 4 plus. So that's one of those teams. So it's the Yankees, it's the Braves, it's the Dodgers, and it's Houston. Those are the 4 teams that what we're doing is we're taking them on run line, so we're giving a run and a half, and we're using them in round robins. Are you guys all familiar with what a round robin is?
No,
I'm not.
It's very similar to, you hear it in soccer, right? You have round robins in
tennis,
soccer. Right.
Yeah.
So what it is you could have, if you have 4 teams, you could say 2, 3, or 4 round robin. I go 3, 4, which means so team A and B and C, and team A, B, C, that kind of thing. And then 1 4-teamer. And when they're on the money line, they're still big favorites at minus 150 to minus 170. But all those teams right now are minus 320. And you really can't make money doing anything consistently. Soccer is one of the rare ones. Soccer, you can make money betting minus 320 because the teams are dominating and they're winning 3-0 and 4-1 and things like that. But in baseball, it's really, really hard because in the last inning, they're up 4-2 and they give up a solo shot and you end up losing. But that's what we're doing. We're doing a lot of those round robins. So it's 4 bets. So if you say I want a $5 round robin, it's $20. You want a $100 round robin, it's $400. But as long as 3 of the 4 win, you get your money back. You actually make a couple bucks. So what I looked at is I looked at these pictures. This is Washington at Atlanta. This is tomorrow. In his last 4 starts, Espino is pitching for Washington. He's given up 20 hits in 18 innings, 7 walks, and he's allowed 12 runs with 6 homers. And that's in 18 innings. And that's 2 games. That's not very good. But he's pitching against Ian Anderson, who's 7-5. He's got an ERA of 5, a WHIP of 1.5. And again, people don't maybe know what WHIP is. They heard it, but they didn't really care enough. With sports betting, it's pretty important. It's your walks and your hits per innings pitched. And if you're putting on 1.5 peoples, these peoples, so they're on first base and they're halfway to second base, right? In his last 5 starts, he's pitched 21 innings. Do the math, guys. That's not going very far. He's given up 30 hits. He's given up 12 walks, 16 runs with 2 homers. I'm taking the over. I'm going to bet it for the first half. I'm going to bet it for the game. Now, I will still have my round robin with Atlanta given 1.5, but I'm hoping it's a 10-5, 9-6 kind of game. That's what I'm looking for, and that's Sunday. So those 3 plays, if you can catch the second half of the Canadian Football League game, if you can catch the second half of the Padre game tonight, and then tomorrow take Atlanta. If you want to go crazy, go Atlanta, money line in the over. Some places won't let you parlay the run line and the total together. But I'm going to try to find a place. I'm going to take Atlanta.